Find yourself glazing over at work, your mind wandering, you're kind of in a daydream. Maybe you're just not interested in what you're doing. Maybe you're not challenged. Maybe you're not motivated. Turns out Americans admit they are bored at work 10.5 hours a week. I mean, that's more than a quarter of the work time, figuring on a 40-hour work week. That equals to 68 days a year. 40% said they're likely to quit their job if they're bored. There are many reasons why people say they're bored, but 39% of managers say employees have too much to do, which kind of seems counterintuitive.
Right.
If you've got too much to do, how can you be bored? Let's talk about it with Kevin Trainer with Robert Half. Good to have you here. You know, in a survey that we got a hold of, it seems like people just don't feel challenged. And when they're not challenged, they get that glazed over look.
Right, right. So, you know, it's important from a management standpoint to communicate well with your employees and have an open dialogue about what their workload is. Is it enough to keep them active and busy throughout the day? But efficiency levels vary from one employee to the next. And like we were talking about a minute ago, some may work through tasks a little bit faster than others. So as a manager or a business owner, it's your responsibility to make sure you know kind of what's pushing your people and keeping them engaged throughout the day.
And I find this hard to believe. 23% said that they don't think they have enough work to do. Yeah. We live in an age where you've got to multitask, and you know, our bosses just keep throwing more at us.
Right, yeah, and that may just be some folks maybe avoiding some work at times, but you know, one of the suggestions that we get in the result of this survey is if you feel like you don't have enough on your plate, that's a conversation that you should be having with your manager or your supervisor to say, you know, I'm working through things maybe faster than you expect from me, what else can I be doing? Talk to colleagues who are overwhelmed and don't have the time to get all of their work done through the day and see how you can help them out.
So if you're a manager, what are some clues that you've got to help go ahead and change the culture?
Yeah, so if you're seeing a lot of employees with that kind of glazed look, like you said, where they're just not engaged, or you feel like the productivity levels aren't quite where you'd like them to be, from a management standpoint, open lines of communication, meet with your people regularly, start infusing some, you know, enjoyable things to the day, maybe a happy hour or a lunch, and stuff that's going to keep people interested in remaining with your organization.
Team building.
Exactly, yep.
Do you think another problem is that people don't feel appreciated? Because, you know, the reality is managers, they're bottom line oriented. They're worried about the budgets, and they're not necessarily people.
Yeah, it could be part of the problem. I think when we talk about an appreciation factor for employees and whether or not they're feeling like that or not, we're coming out of an economy where companies were running very, very lean for several years, and they were pushing a lot of stuff down, and it was overloading people without necessarily having the means to hire to bring in additional help. So hopefully companies are seeing a recovery now, and they're starting to invest more in hiring more individuals and bring in the help that's needed so that employees are feeling a little less stretched, a little bit more appreciated, and are getting the return from that.
And here's the other thing. You got to take the bull by the horns, because you can often help yourself.
Yep, 100%. So there are some things that we suggest doing that may help alleviate some of this boredom at work. Sometimes it's getting engaged in a mentoring program within the organization, taking classes or courses for certifications that may help you from a professional development standpoint. A lot of different ways that you can help kind of advance your career.
And if you basically go to the boss, you don't want to say I'm bored.
Right.
But you want to say, look, you know, I feel like I want to grow with the company and take on new challenges. Is that a positive way to approach this situation?
Absolutely. Use specific examples. So, you know, I was given task A, B, and C, or this type of project that was supposed to take X amount of time, and I completed it maybe faster than expected. And here's why: because I'm doing a good job, and I know my job, and I know what I'm doing here. So maybe I'm ready to start taking on some more. What can you offer me to help me develop and contribute to the organization?
And that'll serve you well, because we do live in an environment today where companies go, I don't care what you did in the past. Tell me what you're going to do for me tomorrow.
Right. What have you done for me lately, kind of a thing, right? So, yeah, everybody's looking at how are we improving, how are we continuing to develop and stay competitive. So those are all things that, you know, they're looking at their employees to help contribute to.
Kevin, some good advice there. Thank you very much. So.